Welcome everyone. Good morning, good day, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to our third, it's amazing, our third Empowering Girls webinar series. Thank you for joining us, as you can choose to be anywhere, but you are using your time to learn and to help us in elevating voices of our girls worldwide. My name is Dawn Rochelle, and I am honored to serve as co-chair of this webinar series with Tina Fischlin. Both of us are past Rotary International District Governors in the Southeastern region of the United States. We are honored to serve as two of the 34 global ambassadors for this Rotary International Empowering Girls Presidential Initiative that you will learn more about today. Tina and I, along with our Empowering Girls Task Force members, cannot be more proud to be with all of you as we join voices once more in our webinar series. Some housekeeping items to make today enjoyable and efficient in our 75 minutes together. Please note that this session is being streamed live on our Rotary Zone 3334 Facebook page and is recorded to be made available to all participants once the recording is curated. Our extraordinary Rotary Public Image team that supports our group has arranged for our webinar audio to be hosted in English and French. Please now select on the Interpretation tab, English or French, to ensure that we stream in your preferred language. There will not be an opportunity for verbal questions. However, please note at the bottom of your screen that there is a question and answer tab. That question and answer box is going to be where you are going to place any of your questions as we go through today's webinar. So take a moment, make sure that you select which language you would like to receive this webinar in, as well as make sure you're familiar with where the Q&A box is. I know that some of you are up in the wee hours and some of you are ready for bed. So let's get this amazing webinar started. Zone 34 Ambassador Tina, take it away.
Thank you, Dawn. Happy Cinco de Mayo and welcome to this, our Rotary Zone 3334 Empowering Girls webinar. This has been an amazing series with experts sharing years of work and knowledge surrounding this topic. In February of 2021, Rotary International President Shekhar Mehta announced that empowering girls would be one of his presidential initiatives. Girls and women worldwide face inequities in areas including health and education, and they experience significant violence and disproportionate poverty. Through this Rotary Presidential Initiative, our community is prioritizing projects that focus on improving the health, education, well-being, and economic security of girls across the globe. Empowering girls means supporting them to ensure that their basic needs are met while working to transform the structures and institutions that reinforce and perpetuate gender discrimination and inequality. Today, we have three fabulous speakers joining us, all sharing programs that echo this year's Rotary theme, Serve to Change Lives. So let's get started with our first amazing presenter. Kay Williamson is a member of the Rotary Club of Meriwether County, District 6900, Georgia, USA. In response to COVID, she joined the Meriwether County school system at the beginning of 2020 in a newly created position as the director of the Wraparound Care Centers. Kay is responsible for developing, creating, and executing a school and community-based partnership by providing equitable access to services and resources within elementary, middle, and high schools. The Wraparound Care Centers facilitate partnerships between students, families, and community stakeholders to provide effective programs that address students' learning barriers and enhance the students' ability to be successful inside and outside the classroom, thus graduating from high school and becoming positive community citizens. Before joining the school system, Kay carries over 30 years of experience working across multi-disciplines in the public and nonprofit educational arenas, focusing on public relations, marketing, economic development, organizational management, consulting, and fundraising. Let's give a warm welcome to Kay Williamson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for letting me be here because this is very, very important, especially in Meriwether County. It's a small little rural area, 22% poverty. But let me tell you about somebody. Let me tell you about a girl that has been affected with poverty here. And let me tell you about her life. You know, she struggled. She had 6 siblings in her family, and her mother was single, and she missed the basic necessities of every day. You know, one of her poverty situations was about period poverty. This girl is not alone. So many girls out there just don't have the money, don't have the access to it to purchase expensive products such as this. Some families have to choose between food, medicine, or these products. Can you imagine having to choose? Access to transportation is such a barrier here in Meriwether County. Some have access to, you know, just going to the basic laundromat. They cannot get to wash machines. See, that's where it started with Meriwether County. We have started a wraparound center 2 years ago here in our school system, where we have access for these kids, these students, these girls to have access to something so simple as everyday life that we couldn't live without. And the best part about it is, you know, we partner with people. We partner with the community. That's so strong here in Meriwether County. As a Rotarian, Rotary is all about helping. The Kiwanis Club is all about helping. There's community chest. We ask for grants from Walmart. We ask for community action for improvement out of LaGrange, the Manchester Women's Club. They're all about providing dignity to these girls. And how we do it is through a simple thing that a lot of kids did not know. It's called a girls thing. It's a girls thing. It is a bag called It's a Girls Thing bag. We are battling period poverty. Simple things. A lot of people had no idea in this little place of Meriwether County that we're in poverty. In poverty, 22% of our kids are in poverty here. Can you imagine? So what we do is to provide these little bags. I want to show you our little bags. These are our little cosmetic bags. And it's simple. Can you imagine? Once a month, they can come to the center and have bags. These are called period bags, or It's a Girls Thing bag. And in it is the different sizes of pads that we have, different things that we can offer our kids. What a perfect opportunity to provide education too. It is amazing that some things that the kids don't know. And as being a woman, I try to empower our kids to look at it differently, to understand without education, first of all, you will never be able to go forward without knowing what's going on. So what I do is they come to me and say, Miss Kay, it's time of my month and I need help. So guess what? We give them a little bag. Now we also can do different things too. We have a different color bag too, so you can choose. But in it, one of the things I find is a game changer is something as simple as this. This is a cleansing cloth. I talked to them about it. I said, what's most important is that you do have to do certain things to make sure you stay clean and hygiene. And it's through a cleansing cloth that we can make sure that you stay clean. And also how many times you need to change and have that. But a simple little thing, you know, it's all about the details and everything we do in life anyway. It's the simple little things that we do to make a difference for our kids. Can you imagine the difference that we can make for our children through that? Also, one of the things we offer in our center is about how we if they need to go and wash their clothes, because some kids come to me and say, Ms. Kay, I need to change my clothes, or I need to change my underwear. We have in our closet, we have underwear for them. We have a laundry center, thanks to Kathy. They donated money to help me have a laundry center there. So they can come in and wash their clothes. And of course, we educate them on how, make sure you wash your clothes, what you need to do for stains, anything that you might need. Wow. We even offer Midol. And some of these kids have never heard of the word Midol. And through parents, of course, parents have permission for that. But our kids are able to have that kind of help through basic things. You ought to see when the kids have something and when they get this, how they feel. You can see it through their eyes. You can see it through because they're really embarrassed when they first come in. And then when you give them something as simple as this to make them feel better, what empowerment do we have? What are simple things that we can do for our children here? And we have all our children. I'm talking elementary. I'm talking middle. I'm talking high. We serve all our kids. And that's what's great about the Wraparound Center here is we empower all our girls to be better. And then where can they go? They can make great strides through everything that we do. What else could you ask for? One of the great things about our Wraparound Center, we have provided over 4,450 services here in our center. And we keep up with everything that we have. The biggest need that we have right now is our food pantry and our clothes closet. They are serving about 30% of our kids use both. And then about 12% use our personal care products. We keep up with all that, so we know we're making a difference for our kids. What else could you ask for? What else could you do for our children? Because our children are our future. Our girls are our future. We empower them to be great, and they will be great. This is the best part. One of the things I do want to share with you is about testimony. When I asked individuals to come and share this with me, they were happy to, because they were so happy to see where we can make a difference. Can we share this with everybody? I asked the people that, one of the things, Women's Club, there's Women's Clubs, so we'll get on there and talk about the partnership that we have. Because it is about, we cannot win by ourselves. We'll never win by ourselves. It's all about playing together, playing as a team. When we all do, we all win. And that's what's so great about Rotary. Rotary makes a difference for us. We just got through with a competitive grant, and we did win $10,000 in District 6900 for a competitive grant for the Rotary International. And hopefully we'll go for another to help fund the Wraparound Center. So now I'd like to show you the video to talk about what we do. And you notice the last one on here is the little girl I'm talking about. The little girl that said that she would miss school because she had a period, did not have the products that she needed. So I'd like to show you our testimony about empowering girls at the Wraparound Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Pat Turner from the Manchester Women's Club. We partnered with the Rotary Club of Meriwether County this past year to put together a packet for girls in need. These are girls that come from underprivileged homes that parents don't have the money to purchase the supplies for them to have during their time of the month. So when that time comes, they go down to the Wraparound Center in Manchester and pick up a packet. And this little packet will take them through the whole time of their time of the month so that they can go to school, go attend functions, and do everything normally during that time. This is a program that nobody else in Manchester has. I am so proud to be a part of this program. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Tressa Mccoy. I work in the Media Center here at Manchester High School. One thing about these bags, they make our girls feel like ladies.
Hi, my name is Megan Wood, and I'm a sophomore at Manchester High School. And Manchester has something that no other school has, and it's these girls' bags. So these bags contain like different sizes of pads and wipes, and I want to say this made a huge difference in my life, because when Mother Nature comes late or shows up early, all you have to do is come to the Wraparound Center and grab these.
Hey y'all, I'm Azrael Thurber. I go to Manchester High School, and the Wraparound Center here has these really cool little pouches that we have feminine products in, and they are really handy. I don't even have to use it for school. I can take it other places. When I go to work, I take my little pouch with me, you know. It conceals them nice. It's not suspicious. I think it's a really good investment. Very, very good tool to have.
Hi everyone, my name is Cheyenne Nasdeo, and I'm currently a senior at Manchester High School, and today I want to talk to you how Miss K has helped all the ladies at Manchester by handing out these little girl bags. And inside of these bags, they do come with all the pads, and they even do come with some wipes to help clean up afterwards. And these bags are very helpful for the ladies here, because once a month Mother Nature shows up and there could be no warnings at all, and so you could be sitting in class or at a teacher's desk or wherever in the building and it show up and you need something. So you can always come up here and get some at any time, and you're able to take them home, and if you don't have enough at home, you can always take extra with you.
Hi, my name is Sanaja Sessions, and I go to Greenville High School. And I'm Miss Rona Ali, and I'm the mentor for this wonderful lady, Miss Tanija Sessions. So I have one question for you today, Miss Tanija. Can you tell me, how is this ladies bag beneficial to you?
The ladies bag is beneficial to me because they're very easy accessible, and sometimes at home, we don't have enough money to buy them on our own. So coming to school and knowing I have something to just get is very refreshing to me, because I don't have to worry about, people seeing anything or me being embarrassed. I can just go ask Miss Rona for it and she'll give it to me.
Hi, my name is Marty Stevens, and I am the Wraparound Service Coordinator for 7 school districts for West Georgia RESA. And I just wanted to share a personal story with you today about how meaningful the It's a Girls Thing bags are. Growing up, we had 5 children, family of 7. At the time that I first got my cycle, we were living in a small little 2-bedroom apartment, and money was tight. And we often had to choose, do we want to use our money for gas money to get to work, food, things like that, and those things took precedence over feminine products. And personally, if I would have had this, I would have not missed as many school days. I wouldn't have had to suffer the embarrassment of odor and from not being able to change your product or your pad. I even skipped school one day because I didn't have anything, and I knew there was nothing at home, and I didn't want my mother to feel badly about not being able to provide that for me, but I wasn't about to go to school, and so I skipped school that day. And so something like this provided for our girls, and taking away the stigma, taking away the embarrassment, and helping to educate them about themselves and what's going on is so meaningful. And it's something that I think could have been life-changing for me when I was younger. So I'm so happy that the wraparound centers are being able to provide these for girls. I think it's a really, really important part of what we can do for them.
Thank you so much, Kay, for presenting on this project. I know so many of you are putting questions and comments in our chat and our Q&A box that come directly to the host and panelists. Please continue to share your thoughts and any questions that you would like Kay to answer once we get to that time in our program. Now let's hear from Dan Quinn, the founder of Study Steps Tutoring, a local Rotary project idea in District 7690 in North Carolina, USA. Dan is a seasoned Rotarian, first joining Rotary in 2009 with the Rotary Club of Gate City, where he served as club president in 2015-16. Dan has been a part of growing Rotary and is a charter member of the Downtown Rotary Club of Greensboro, where he currently serves as the president. Giving back is a part of his DNA. A strong believer in the Rotary Foundation, Dan is a Paul Harris Fellow and Society member, a major donor, and a member of Polio Plus Promise. Dan saw the potential to give back even more after combining his board experience with the children of Vietnam and with the potential of Rotary. An idea to raise funds to help a few girls in their education has become a major event in the Greensboro area, with multiple clubs that now come together to raise funds annually to serve children that they may never have the opportunity to meet. This group has raised over $300,000, so you're going to want to listen in. Lives have been changed, friendships have been formed, and this group of Rotarians understand being a part of something bigger than any one of us could give ourselves. You will be inspired as you listen in. Please join me in a Zoom welcome to Dan Quinn.
Good morning. I don't know if I can measure up to that, but thank you. In District 7690, I'm not known as Dan so much as I am Cookie's brother. I've been asked to speak slowly today. As a native Tar Heel, that won't be a problem. I'm happy to be included in this event and even happier to share with you what we've been up to. If I may, I'll share a little backstory as to how I got here. In 2002, my wife Judy and I adopted our third child, Katie 2, from Vietnam's northernmost province in Lang Son. Katie was 5 when she landed with us in the USA. She did not speak a word of English, but that was not much of an impediment to her. Katie was the middle child of 7, and her parents had told her that she was the brightest and the bravest, and she was going to get this opportunity. We felt like this was a nice story for her to hear, but over time, and a dozen trips back to Vietnam to visit her family, this was exactly what they had intended. She is dearly loved on both sides of the world. She was just ready for new opportunities. Katie went on to win a full-ride scholarship at Wake Forest University and is now working on her second master's degree in Scotland. Has a part-time gig working with autistic children as well. She is an accomplished musician, equestrian, hunter, skier, tennis player. She loves her Vietnam village, but needed a bigger palette to paint on. Anyway, Katie learned to speak English in a few weeks and told us that she wanted to help her family in Vietnam. She said they needed a new house. I explained that houses were very expensive, and she said how much, and I confessed that I was not really up on the construction cost of Vietnam. We called our adoption agency, and they told us that Ben Wilson, the founder of Children in Vietnam, lives about 25 miles from us, and he builds houses in Vietnam. We reached out to Ben, and he told us that COV worked in central Vietnam, and Katie's family lived on the border with China, so the construction cost would be much greater there. Ben said it would cost about $3,500. Fast forward a year, Katie has entered the first grade, and she has landed a job modeling for American Girl magazine. I know, ironic. Her first paycheck was $3,500. Katie built her family a new home, and I joined the board of Children of Vietnam. That's how I got here. Children of Vietnam provides a broad range of services to children, having served over 600,000 these last 25 years. I would encourage you to visit them online or reach out to me, as I can talk much longer than you may care to listen about Vietnam and children in Vietnam. I've returned many times to Katie's village with Katie and my wife, Judy. I've also had one of my brothers and one of my sisters join me to meet Katie's family. Also to visit our girls and the programs that Rotary has helped to sponsor. Today, I would specifically like to share with Rotary what Rotary began as what we call the Hui Kui Girls, and now we call the Study Steps program. In 2013, the Gate City Club of Greensboro wrote a $3,500 district grant for children of Vietnam. This grant was to provide 1 year of support for 25 disadvantaged girls in a village outside of Da Nang. These girls were considered at risk in our world, where lack of means and education places them in harm's way and darkens their futures. Our COV staff identified candidates for the program and then met with the school staff, the parents, and the girls. We did this to have buy-in and sweat equity from all parties to keep them in school. We wanted bang for our buck and long-term success. This is at times a significant sacrifice for the families, as the girls are so needed at home. The grant funded their uniforms, tutoring, extracurricular educational opportunities, bikes, desks, anything they needed to be successful students, as well as an occasional trip to the famous fried chicken. The Gates Foundation tells us that for each year a girl stays in school, her eventual income will rise by 10 to 20%. So we needed to find a way to stretch this grant. We decided on a barbecue fundraiser competition we called Pig Stock. Clubs in the district compete for ribbons, trophies, and bragging rights, and our guests walk from tent to tent, eating and enjoying beverages and great bluegrass music. Our first event hosted about 90 people, and we raised $10,000. Matching these funds with a district grant provided funds to get the girls all the way through high school. So if we could get them that far, why not another Pig Stock? After the second year, we realized we could fund these girls all the way through college if we could just keep cooking. This last year, we had 1,400 attend the event, and our goal this year is to have 20 teams or 20 club teams competing and 2,000 guests. So that's how we're funding the program. Very sustainable, but as in all things fundraisery, it's the sponsorships that really make the difference. When I first, I'm seeing this picture of these girls now. It just makes me happy. When I first met these girls 11 years ago, they were in the 6th grade. I asked them what they would like to be when they grow up. Not a peep. Not one had any idea she could be anything. By the time they were in high school, they could not wait to tell me they wanted to be teachers and engineers and artists and lawyers. And their success is so tied. It's tied to the dedication of the Children of Vietnam staff. And it was so much more than financial. The staff did regular age-appropriate life skills training with the girls. They visited in their homes and literally wrapped their arms around them. But it would not have happened without Rotary. I promise you, not one of these girls would have ever seen or considered college if not for Rotary. So why young ladies in Vietnam? Vietnam boys are still the priority in the family hierarchy, and we see girls begin to drop out of school around the 6th grade. They're needed at home to take care of siblings and help with the family garden while parents farm or seek day labor. The real problem arises a few years later when they're 16 or 18 years old and they don't have education. This is when trafficking comes into play. Therefore, our program begins in the 6th grade. The program is now expanded beyond Rotary. We, Rotarians, have started our second group of 25 girls, and the older girls have begun to mentor the younger. I had told the first group 11 years ago that I expected them to pay it forward, and they are. In addition, the program has been copied and funded by non-Rotary groups, businesses, and individuals, so we have 75 girls enrolled in addition to our 50 girls. Last week at our district conference, I heard the phrase R&D, that we should rip off and duplicate successful programs. It's great fun and rewarding to see others ripping us off. Anyway, we could see this and we could predict the success. We had everything in place to make it work. What we did not see was the service it would do for our clubs. This has become the biggest event in our district. Clubs use it to recruit and plug in new members as well as engage seasoned members. I know one longtime Rotarian that has never taken a leadership role in his club. He took on the job of his club's cook team captain, and in 3 years, he was president of his club. It's hard to explain the lengths that a Rotarian will go to win a ribbon. Businesses are calling us now to donate, as is the local media. No one leaves this event without asking if they can be a part of it next year. This is the face of Rotary in our district. So if I've not burned too much of my time, I would love to show a video of Tao. She's one of our first cohort, and she will be here in August if we can get the U.S. consulate in Hanoi to start approving visas again. Tao will be visiting clubs 2 to 3 times a day, saying thank you and telling her story. I don't want to steal any of her thunder, so if we can please show the video of Tao, and I've got a few more things to say when we wrap that up.
Hello everyone, my name is Mehta. I was born and raised in Williamson district, Da Nang City. Previously, my family has 4 people: my father, my mother, my younger sister, and me. My family was very peaceful and happy until an event. My father became seriously ill and died. At this time, I was only in the 3rd grade. My sister was just in the first grade. All the burden was on my mother's shoulders. My mother had to do a lot of different things to take care of us. This may be the most difficult time for my family. It was until I was in 6th grade that changed my whole life. Thus, I'm lucky to participate in the Study Step Scholarship program founded by Children of Vietnam for 25 disadvantaged girls in Hawaii. And now follow me in my footsteps and see how I changed.
Entering the 6th grade, fortunately, I have received support from Children of Vietnam, both physically and mentally. Their tuition, extra school fees, and annual meeting. Every summer, we take skill class and go to fun places like park and supermarkets. I still remember at the time I didn't know what a movie theater was, and I never saw a movie. I never ate the famous fried chicken, and when I joined the Children of Vietnam with my good friends, I see how meaningful this life is. Thanks to Children of Vietnam and you, my first native first have been amazing.
Next, this is my image in my high school years. I trained a lot during this time. Although we study in different schools, we are still support with my monthly tuition, living expense, more and more skill classes to help us improve ourselves. Thanks to the help of sponsors, Rotary Clubs, and the children of Vietnam, it seems that my life has completely turned a new page. I have achieved significant achievement as an excellent student for 12 years, continually winning high scores in math, physics, and chemistry subjects. Besides, thanks to participating in communication and presentation skill classes, I have found a new ability of myself that is presented. As a result, I constantly won high praise in the presentation competition about history, science, and technology, and a lot of other topics. I am truly grateful for the generosity and help of sponsors, children of Vietnam, and my family. It's you who have empowered and motivated me to overcome my destiny and move on this journey.
Currently, I am a third-year student at the Da Nang University of Economics. The major that I will choose is business administration. Besides studying, I am also an active delegation officer. I often organize programs for students such as workshops, summer camps, or team building. More than anyone else, I understand and sympathize with the unhappy parts of my life. I am truly grateful and have learned so much from you, and further feel like to live my life. I constantly try to reach my dreams. I always want to give a little bit of energy to help in difficult situations like mine. So I choose to study and try to learn a lot so that later I could come back here with a new role. I hope so. Finally, I want to say a sincere thank you. Thank you to friends who have always been there for me. Thank you to my father, my mother for giving birth to me, and especially thank the sponsors, thank Rotary Club and Children of Vietnam. Hopefully, I see my sponsor again soon when I come to America. Goodbye and see you soon.
Powerful. I just received a text from a friend who I haven't heard from in 20 years, and his wife wanted to make sure that I didn't have pants on for this, so I covered.
Thank you, Dan. What an amazing presentation, and thank you to all your clubs in the area that make that possible. What lives you are changing forever.
Yeah,
just a quick reminder. I'm sorry?
I had one more thing, if you don't mind.
Sure, real quick.
Okay, real quick. I just wanted to shout out to I'll skip all this. There are 12 of our girls on the call. So to the Pui Quay girls, I hope to see you graduate next spring.
Yes, absolutely. Good job. What lives you're changing forever. A reminder, put your question and answers or questions in the Q&A box, and we'll address those at the end of this session. Now, our final speaker today is John Huco. John is the General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. From 2004 to 2009, John was Vice President for Operations and Compact Development for the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, a U.S. government agency established in 2004 to deliver foreign assistance to the world's poorest countries. At MCC, he was the principal United States negotiator for foreign assistance agreements to 26 countries: Africa, Asia, South America, the Middle East, and the former Soviet Union. During his tenure, he completed the negotiation of assistance agreements totaling $6.3 billion to 18 countries for infrastructure, agriculture, water and sanitation, health and education projects. Prior to joining MCC, John was an international partner with the law firm Baker & McKenzie, specializing in international corporate transactions in emerging markets. He helped establish the firm's Moscow office and was the managing partner of its offices in Kyiv and Prague. While working in Ukraine in the early 1990s, John assisted the working group that prepared the initial draft of the new Ukrainian post-Soviet constitution and was a charter member of the first Rotary Club in Kyiv. John has been a public policy scholar at the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, an adjunct professor of law at Georgetown University, and a visiting scholar at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He has published many papers and articles in leading U.S. and international publications and has spoken extensively on political and business issues dealing with the former Soviet Union, Central Europe, Africa, and Latin America. He is also a member of the Council of Foreign Relations. John holds a law degree from Harvard University, a master's in modern history from Oxford University, where he studied as a Marshall Scholar, and a bachelor in government and Soviet studies from Hamilton College in New York. As General Secretary, John leads a diverse staff of over 800 at Rotary International's World Headquarters in Evanston, Illinois, USA, and 7 international offices. He and his partner, Marga, are major donors to the foundation and live in Evanston, Illinois. Welcome, John, to Zone 33 and 34 Empowering Girls Now webinar.
Well, great, Tina. Thank you so much for that very generous introduction, and I'm delighted to be with you here for the Zone 33-34 Empowering Girls webinar. Obviously, the topic that you're covering is an extremely important one, and in terms of looking at the facts and figures, and I think this is probably not news to anyone participating in this webinar, but some of the figures are just really astounding. If women were to, for example, work in the workforce, participate in the workforce to the same extent that men do, it's estimated that would add up to 28 trillion. That's trillion with a T to annual global GDP. The world lacks up to 140 million women because of the preference for sons in certain parts of the world. In South Asia, 1 in 5 girls is moderately or severely underweight. Globally, 500 million women and girls lack adequate facilities to properly manage their menstrual hygiene. And of course, we have the issues of child marriage, female genital mutilation, violence against women, and for me, education in some ways is really the key to addressing many of these issues. Of the world's 960 million illiterates, 2/3 are women, and you mentioned in the introduction my previous participation with the Millennium Challenge Corporation, which was a new government agency that President George W. Bush had established in 2004. And it was really meant to provide U.S. foreign assistance to developing countries in a kind of a new and innovative manner. And I was very fortunate I had a great job. I was the sort of principal U.S. negotiator for these assistance agreements that we had with our partner countries. And the way we chose countries that were eligible for MCC assistance was through the use of a number of third-party maintained indicators that focused on a country's movement toward democracy, their economic policies, their social policies, and their fight against corruption. And based on these indicators, we chose the countries that we would work with. And one of the key indicators was girls' primary school education rates. And it's really not surprising, because for me, if there's sort of one intervention, if you had to really choose one international development intervention, of course, there's many out there and many are being employed. But if you only had the funding or had to choose, I would choose girls' primary school education, because once the girls get educated, once education is introduced into the mix, many of these problems that I outlined and many others begin to get addressed. And so clearly the challenge is great. Again, girls and women face inequities, and as I mentioned, areas that include health and education, high levels of violence and poverty. And so I think that's why this President Shekhar's initiative, Empowering Girls Initiative, is so important. We're really encouraging clubs and districts to empower girls and all of the service initiatives they undertake. And on this webinar, we've seen a number of fantastic examples of Rotarians working with outside organizations, actually putting this call to action into practice. The initiative clearly aligns with the Rotary Foundation's areas of focus, the goals of Rotary International's action plan. And again, we can really increase our impact through doing the projects that protect, empower, and create equity for girls. So obviously, there's a slew of examples of what the projects could focus on. Again, ensuring access to water, sanitation, hygiene resources, supplying menstrual health and hygiene resources, access to basic education, as I mentioned, skills training and technology, and of course, as we Rotarians do these projects, we really encourage people to post what they're doing on Rotary Showcase, and we now almost have 2,073 to be exact projects that have been entered on Rotary Showcase. So it's a terrific initiative, and I want to thank everyone who's participating in this webinar, because obviously you're here because you have an interest in this. Rotarians have really stepped up and taken this bull by the horns and are addressing this issue. And again, over 2,000 projects have now been posted on Showcase. And the good news is this is not a one and done initiative for just this Rotary year. Both President-elect Jennifer Jones and President nominee Gordon McAnally have indicated that they're going to continue to be committed to this initiative in their terms as president. So again, I want to thank all of you who are interested in this issue. It's an extraordinarily important issue. And again, for me, if one looks at the panoply of international development interventions that are out there, if I were to choose sort of one that I think you get the biggest bang for the buck and is going to make the biggest difference, and that's girls' primary school education as a fundamental pillar and piece to address some of these issues. Now, I was asked to talk a bit about the situation in Ukraine and Rotary's response to what's happening in Ukraine, and particularly how the Empower Girls initiative could make a difference with the situation that we're seeing in Ukraine. Obviously, we're all seeing it on the news. Horrific, unprovoked war by Russia against Ukraine. The death, the destruction, the refugee crisis that's been created by this brutal, unprovoked war is simply staggering. I think we're all seeing on the news city after city getting literally bombed to the Stone Ages. We now have 12 million refugees in Ukraine, a country of 40 million. That's a huge number. More than 5.5 million refugees have now left Ukraine, and the rest are internally displaced. Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Romania, Bulgaria have Romania, Moldova faced the brunt of this, particularly Poland, which has now taken over 3 million refugees from Ukraine. Just a horrific situation. And I think the challenge is even exacerbated by the fact that 90% of these refugees that have left Ukraine are women and children, because the men are either have stayed back to fight or are not allowed to leave the country to join the territorial defense forces. And so we have an unprecedented tragedy unfolding in Europe, nothing like we've seen since the Second World War. And it's affecting not only obviously the men who are fighting, but it's affecting the women and children more than anything. They're the ones that are fleeing. They make up the bulk of the refugee crisis. And of course, that then triggers issues of child trafficking, of all those criminal gangs, all those issues that Central and Eastern Europe were facing before the war. Obviously, don't go away. So the crisis is extraordinary, and is particularly acute with respect to women and children because they make up the vast majority of the refugees. Now, in terms of Rotary's response, I think here anyone who's a Rotarian can be extraordinarily proud of our organization. About 7 weeks ago, we established the Rotary Foundation established a disaster response fund for Ukraine. That fund was open through April 30th. In other words, any money which was contributed by April 30th to that account would be ring-fenced and earmarked for Ukraine. Obviously, that April 30th occurred a few days ago. That fund has over $13 million in it. And so that money will now be reserved and allocated for Ukraine. So any district in the world is eligible to apply for a grant of up to $25,000 to address refugee issues. In addition, Ukraine and the Rotary districts in Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Moldova, Romania are able to get larger grants of $50,000 or $100,000. We've received grant applications for totaling over $2 million. Now we've dispersed about $1 million, million and a half, and of course we still have another 11 million to go. And these grants can be used for food, medicine, shelter, training, protection against trafficking, anything dealing with the needs of the refugees, either in Ukraine or outside, particularly in the frontline countries. And finally, just let me close by really highlighting what our Rotarians in Ukraine have done. Obviously, the country is at war. It's being systematically destroyed by Putin and Russia and the Russian forces. Half of our Rotarians, from what I understand, have lost their jobs because of the war. And again, Rotary has been thriving and growing in Ukraine. They've had significant membership growth over the last 5 or 6 years. We have over 1,100 Rotarians in Ukraine. Half have lost their jobs. A third have had to flee or lost their homes. Many of them have had to send their families abroad, and yet they continue to meet virtually or in person. And most impressive and incredible is they continue to do fantastic projects. They've now received over $400,000 out of the Disaster Response Fund. They get it, they spend it, buy the medications, buy the things that are needed, buy the firefighting equipment, whatever's needed in the local communities, they're there doing it. They've been very clever in setting up a micro grant system, whereas the grants they receive from the Rotary Foundation are then micro granted out to the various clubs. So almost all the clubs in Ukraine, whether they're functioning virtually or still meeting in person, are doing projects working to address the needs created by this horrific war. And in fact, the work that Rotarians have been doing has been so well received within the Ukrainian community writ large that it actually had an increase in membership during the course of this war. So in the midst of this brutal, terrible war, they're actually increasing Rotary membership in Ukraine. So we have a fantastic global initiative, the Empowering Girls. It's making a difference. Again, well over 2,000 projects have been at least identified and publicly posted, and I suspect there are many more. Rotary has responded in an incredible way with respect to the Ukrainian crisis, over $13 million raised. And our Rotarians around the world, in terms of what they're doing hands-on, has been incredible in Ukraine, the frontline countries, and elsewhere throughout the world. And again, this 13 million just represents what's come into the Rotary Foundation. I mean, we're aware anecdotally of significant efforts where funds are being contributed directly to the bank accounts of the relevant Rotary groups in Ukraine and in the frontline countries, where clubs and districts are gathering equipment, shipping it through their own channels, through their own mechanisms. And so the response has been absolutely incredible. We do have now a landing page on the website on Rotary.org, sort of a one-stop shopping page, which talks about how you can donate, how you can apply for a disaster response grant for Ukraine, with a link to Showcase that features a number of the projects that are being done with respect to the Ukrainian crisis. So all the information and the contact information, principal Rotary contacts in Ukraine, the frontline countries, if you're interested in housing, offering hosting refugee information, who to contact in your relevant country, etc. So again, I, as your General Secretary, am just extraordinarily proud to be with this organization, both to see how Rotarians have stepped up to this extraordinarily important initiative for empowering girls, but also how we've stepped up as an organization to deal and help with this terrible crisis that's unfolding in Ukraine. So I'll stop there, Tina, and then of course I'll be happy to answer any questions or field any thoughts from the participants when we get to the Q&A section. So thank you for having me, and thank you all for supporting this very important initiative that President Shekhar has launched this Rotary year. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. I am so thankful for you joining us today, General Secretary John, and for all of our guests. It is a pleasure to be with you all. My name is Clanice Platt, and I am also on the task force today. And I'm going to be asking questions for each of our panelists with the assistance of Anna, who is also on the task force with me. I'd like to start with Kay. Kay, there was a lot of interest in particular with the packages that you spoke about.
Yeah.
People wanted to know specifically, how long do the packages last? The materials that are in the packages, how long does that last? How much does it cost? As well as how can they obtain directions in assembling those packages and get a list of what is included in those packages?
Well, one great thing about this, it is very simple. It really is all you have to do is talk to the kids, because one of the things about the Wraparound Center, it's about the voice. It's the voice of the child, the voice of the girls. And when you talk to the kids, they tell you what they want. You listen. What you do is stop this and do this. And you listen to what they say. So all this is really a cosmetic bag, and you can use anything from, I know that one of the questions was, okay, plastic, but you can use canvas. There's canvas bags out there, and I've been to, and I've seen them for $1, so, or 50 cents. You can go and get them. Also inside there are heavy, light. They're 3 in each, so you can do a whole week. We'll take this. There are 3 heavies, 3 mediums, and 3 lights. So you have that, and panty liners, and these. And the cost, what's so great about this is that when it comes to cost, I've had people give this to me. All I've done is ask. In this world, everybody loves to help and be a part, because we've been doing it. Everybody gives. And all you have to do is ask them. And they're willing to do whatever to make it happen. And so you just have to put your mind to it and say, hey, this is what I want. The Women's Club, I just said, okay, you're women. Can you help me with this? Our junior league, and they will give, I say, can you do 30 bags? They will do 30. If I do 300, they'll do 300. They're willing to give. And all you have to do is again, think about what you have in here. Of course, our president, he was like, I had our president in a Rotary Club put these together, and our guys in a Rotary Club, they go, I've never put these together before. So it was amazing that they all pulled together and made this happen. But again, it's real easy. It's just to ask. P&G also does a program. The company P&G does a program that has this kind of stuff. And all you have to, again, it's a grant. Or just ask for them. Just like Bombas. Bombas does socks. And they do the underwear. So you have to go out and just ask for this kind of stuff and do a little research on it. And people are willing to do whatever. So don't say, oh, I can't do it. It's all about you can. And you will, and all you have to do is ask, especially when they know Rotary. Rotary makes things happen, and as Rotarians, we make things happen, and you can do this as easy as saying, hey, can you help? And they will, right?
Excellent.
And and Rotary also says, you can't say no. Isn't that right? If you're a Rotarian, there's no way you say no to nothing. Isn't that right? Yes.
I love that, Kay. Thank you so much. Dan, you received a lot of shout outs and love from the young women that you have supported. And one of the questions was, how can people find out more information about your organization, and how can they participate?
Sure. Well, for the fundraiser, just reach out to me, email or phone me for pig stock information. We are November 5th this year. It's in Greensboro. So I'm the contact for that. www.childrenofvietnam.org is the way to get to COV and find out everything about that group.
Excellent. Thank you very much. General Secretary John, someone wanted to know, is there a chance that the DRF deadline date of April 30th will be extended?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for raising it. Again, just to be clear, the April 30th was the deadline by which any funds that come to the Disaster Response Fund, if they arrive prior to on or before April 30th, will be ring fenced and reserved just for Ukraine. Any funds arriving after April 30th could still be used for Ukraine, but they could also be used for other disasters if and when they were to occur. So 13 point, whatever, 2 or 3, whatever's in there now, that's now ring fenced for Ukraine. Currently, under the current rules, that money needs to be spent by June 30th, and any remaining funds not spent will then go into the General Disaster Response Fund and can still continue to be used for Ukraine, but would also be eligible for other disasters as well. I suspect, because we have received enormous, certainly much more than we anticipated, which is fantastic, I suspect the trustees, when they next meet in 2 weeks, will extend that June 30th deadline. So April 30th was the date by which you form the bucket. June 30th, it has to be spent by June 30th, although I suspect, I don't want to speak for the trustees, but I suspect they will extend that to the end of this calendar year.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Kay, there's another question for you. Does the Wraparound Club do awareness sessions to educate the girls about sanitation as well as feminine hygiene?
Yeah, that's very important. One of the greatest things is that we have a separate room, and then we go in there because a lot of girls are embarrassed. You know, we have middle school and high school and elementary, but they're embarrassed. So I get them in there and I talk to them about it like it was my own child. And I treat them like they're my children. You know, that's just the mama I am. And so I actually do a one-on-one with them and explain to them, because a lot of parents don't. A lot of parents are scared to do it. So I get in there and talk to them about, you have to change your pads a certain amount of time. You can't leave it in the whole time. You have to make sure you're clean. A lot of kids here also don't understand cleanliness. So I actually have wipes, they're feminine wipes in there, but also I have body wipes, and I can give them body wipes. So it's important that we talk about them in a one-on-one, because a lot of times they don't want to be in a big group, but we can do that in big group. But I like to do a one-on-one so they're not embarrassed, they're not shamed or anything to them. And I close the door so nobody can hear. And so they understand much better about that. So we do one-on-one with each child that comes in there, and they know and they get it. And what's so great about us too, they feel safe. Mm-hmm. Our center is a safe center, a safe zone, no shame, no nothing when it comes to our girls or our boys or any of them. It is a safe place to be, and to understand that this is a mom helping you or a dad helping you. We're here to help you and to educate and be someone that sometimes they just don't have in life. They don't have those parents that to help them, and we are here to help them.
Absolutely. One more follow-up question with that. Is there a limit on the number of times that young people can actually come and ask for those bags? What do they do after they've used it all up, their initial time? Can they come back and ask for more?
Yes, every day. So that's why one of the things I said, okay, here's your bag. So bring back your bag every time. So you bring back your bag and fill it up. But you know what? My job is 3 things: behavior, grades, and attendance. And graduation. I can give you the product that you need to show up every day. If I can get you to show up, then you'll have better grades. Then you have better attendance, and you have everything that you have. And so I don't care if I give it to your sisters or your brothers or your aunts or uncles. If you need these products to help your life better, that's what we're here for. We don't care. We don't shame. We give you what you need to make your life better every day.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Dan, one more question for you as well. As you all assist the young ladies and they are able to tell their stories, what additional follow-up information or tools do you all offer to them?
Well, Children of Vietnam has tracked the girls all the way through. So we know where everybody is going to school and where they're going to school. We have yet to graduate anybody from university. We have graduated several from I guess what we would look at as more of a technical school, and they've gone to work, and we are watching them in the community. And some of our first students from another program previously have come back as employees of Children of Vietnam. So we got a good track record watching our girls.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. General Secretary John, there was another question that says, are there any initiatives that are being done by Rotary or any of your parent organizations to bring the refugees to girls and to provide relief to girls and women in Ukraine to deal with some of the collateral issues like sex trafficking or anything of that nature?
Yeah, again, this is part of the general program we have in place with this disaster response fund. The funds are there to be used for supporting the refugees, and currently it's the medications, food, shelter, clothing, etc. Particularly also in Ukraine. In Ukraine, medical equipment really seems to be what's needed at this point. But clearly, all this follow-on work is going to have to occur. And what's interesting is, these are not refugees that want to leave Ukraine. The vast majority of them want to return. I have family members. My cousin had to send his daughter-in-law and granddaughter to Poland. In fact, my daughter was visiting with them a couple of weeks ago. They want to come back. They want, so we're going to have, this is a very different dynamic from refugees that are leaving and don't want to come back and are really looking for a better life outside their country. The vast majority of these women and children are going to want to obviously go back. So it's a slightly different dynamic here, but yes, these funds are available. And I'd encourage Rotary clubs that are interested in doing this to focus on these secondary issues as well, because they're really, really important. And I did notice there was another question about when refugees may be coming to the United States. And so there is, I think on May 11th, we're participating, Rotary's participating with an organization called Welcome.us, which was established, I believe, by the Biden administration, primarily to deal with the Afghan refugee issues after the US withdrawal of forces. That's now been expanded to include the Ukrainian refugee situation. So if anyone on this call is interested in Ukrainian refugees in the States, email me at john.huco@rotary.org, john.huco@rotary.org, and I'll get you on our mailing list to get the Zoom invitation. I think it's on May 11th. There's going to be a briefing by Welcome.us and Rotary about how we can participate, Rotarians can participate in helping refugees, Ukrainian refugees who are coming to the States in terms of timing, process, procedures, etc.
That's great. That was going to be my follow-up question. So I so appreciate that.
Didn't want to jump the gun, but I just want to make sure I got that.
You got it. That is
last piece in there.
perfect.
Thanks.
That is excellent. And I would ask, I think that all of our panelists' contact information has been added to the chat box. If not, please do so at this time. I want to thank everybody so much for your questions. And thank you, panelists, for your amazing information and presentations. There are so many comments about how powerful your presentations have been today. So I appreciate that. And at this time, I am going to turn the presentation back over to Past District Governor Dawn.
Thank you so much, Clinice. And wow, what an inspiring webinar. Thank you to everyone who has joined us, whether today was your first or your third in our series. With now well over 1,100 people tuning in to our webinar series from all over the world, hundreds more in-person presentations to clubs and districts, Tina and I, along with all of the Empowering Girls Task Force, are just inspired and called to more action. Please join us if you will be in Houston, as our zones 33, 34 have been asked to participate in a session, Empowering Girls, Project Success Stories, like you heard today. It will be held on Tuesday, June 7th, highlighting our Crown Her project to address period poverty. None of this would be possible without the support of our extraordinary Rotary International Director for Zones 33, 34, Peter Kyle, who also serves as the chair of the Rotary International Board of Directors Executive Committee. Peter's entire career in Rotary has been to support peace and conflict resolution and to build communities that know more about working together to solve problems. I speak for Tina and I both when I say that we have been honored to get the call to serve as ambassadors for this initiative, as we have both learned and been inspired to serve more. So thank you, Peter. And I will now close our webinar series by handing the Zoom microphone to our director, Peter Kyle.
Well, thank you, Dawn, for that excessively generous introduction, but much appreciated. You know, about this time a year ago, Shekhar Mehta suggested that he might like to have as one of his transformational issues, empowering girls. And we talked about, and we weren't sure where this might go, whether this would take off, would it strike a chord? Has it ever? This has been one of the most successful transformational issues that I can recall in Rotary. The support for this initiative all around the world has been extraordinary, and no more so than zones 33 and 34. We have two wonderful ambassadors, Dawn Rochelle and Tina Fishlin, and they are very ably supported by Anna Patel, by Clinice Platt, and by Sean Paddy. And there are others behind the scenes. You guys have just been phenomenal. I want to reach out to Kay Williamson. What an amazing presentation. The Wraparound Project. Kay, this is so simple, but so practical and such a good project for Rotary Clubs all around the world to participate in. Dan, your project, Children of Vietnam, I think there were probably tears in the eyes of many of us when you spoke about Katie and her journey through life and the work that you've done with the children of Vietnam. This is just an amazing story. And John, Hugo, it's always good to listen to you. I loved your challenge when you spoke about the girls, that advancing primary school girls' education may be the single most important thing that we could do. And I hope that that message resonates with those on the call, and we can develop more projects focusing on primary girls' school education. And the way you linked the terrible situation in Ukraine with the Empowering Girls initiative and the focus on mothers and children in Ukraine, that was amazing. So all in all, another fantastic webinar. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Tina. Thanks to all involved. I hope that we can continue this initiative into the next year. And I was delighted that both Jennifer and Gordon have agreed to do so. We're on a roll. This is fabulous. So thank you all for participating. And I wish you all every success as you continue your respective Rotary journeys.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and look for more in the coming year, because we're definitely coming back for more, Peter Kyle. Thank you so much. Everyone have a blessed day wherever you are in the world.